Lvyc Life Pivot, episode 7. I'm here with my man Al, Damian Williams. Stay tuned. You know, we just trying to drop some gems, empower, talk about our journey and, you know, all the things that we've been through, where we're coming from, where we're going, the things that we've been into, how we met. I met this wise guy in South Beach many years ago through some promoter friends. He was venturing into coming to Miami, opening a jewelry store. At the time, I was out and about in the nightlife trying to brand myself, music, talent, artists, a brand that I had at the time. And Al was a generous guy. I felt a great vibe. He needed some branding for his store. Opened up his store, opened up many doors for me, and you know, has brought a lot of resources to the table. And you know, we just gonna break it all down.
It had costed a lot to actually, you know, be an entrepreneur and call yourself an entrepreneur, because, you know, not every entrepreneur starts off in business without any financial backup. Like, he's been in this, you know, in all different types of businesses, and now he's been, you know, building his brand for
pivoting
several years, and he's had no financial backup, just making whatever he's making and just throwing it right back, you know, without holding back into, you know, the company, the brand, and to build and push himself out forward. Actually, you know, when you do something like this, I feel like once you reach the top, you could actually congratulate yourself and show appreciation to people that actually, you know, gave you good advice, gave you some kind of moral support, or were there for you in any type of way, you know, to support you with their positivity for you to make it, you know. And it's only very few people that do that for you, so it's not easy.
Oh, for sure.
You know, to become that entrepreneur that actually, you know, makes it somewhere in the branding industry or your own company or whatever it is.
No, you know, it's years in the making. I'd say I'm probably like 7 to 10 years in. When I met you at the time, I just started getting serious. You know, I moved down to South Beach. That was a risk. South Beach cost thousands of dollars extra to live in, and I just didn't look back at that time. And then I just was like, you know what? Let me get on the dance floor and start connecting with some serious people. So when you met me, I was vulnerable, but vulnerable to opportunity, because I didn't want to repeat the same things I was doing. So I was like, you know what? I got to put myself out there. New York, Miami, traveling around, pretty much, you know, connecting with people like myself, and then, you know, trying to see who had certain qualities that we could build with. So when I saw you was kind of doing the same thing. I was like, okay, this person don't got to sell me on what it is that you're trying to do. You already sold me with the actions. I tell people I'm a bastard. I've been lied to my whole life. So somebody that can actually do something in a physical form, you can move mountains with me. Versus you telling me or trying to show me something, you already showed me the action by coming from New York, taking a leap of faith to open a store in a not so easy industry. But you were already tapped in because you was connected with a connected person like me at the time that was creating waves. So that's how we met. We was both on the dance floor, taking a risk.
Right. And again, we're on a fucking dance floor again.
In LA, in LA, in another state.
You know what's
years
so funny?
later.
You can't make this up, because this is actually so very true. What you're saying is that at that time, I just pilgrimed to Miami.
Yes.
And it took me a year to build my building and my jewelry store, and it was fucking crazy, you know, because I had to support my kids, my family, and, you know, to come to Miami not knowing, you know, or having the experience or expertise to build a fucking huge jewelry store 2 floors high, and to have this type of construction and to actually make it to the finish line to have a grand opening was like, wow.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, and that's why when we met, I overstood. So at the time, you was probably meeting people that didn't have that hands-on to understand. Whether it was jewelry, cars, anybody that knows me, I'm a connected, resourceful person. I'm Jamaican. We know for having 7 jobs, so it's like I wasn't into jewelry, but I'm like, Al, I got the resources. At the time, I was selling clothes out the back of my trunk, promoting, branding. I had a music studio, doing everything I can to not be average or to settle. You know what I'm saying? So pivot to me means many things, but the action of pivoting is what we're doing now. So I appreciate having you, and I want you to break down to the people watching, you as a brand, how you got into this stuff, and where you're at with it. Just give us a little breakdown on Al the jeweler, how you started, and give him a little breakdown.
Well, my family, we actually came from the Soviet Union, and from a part of Soviet Union, one of the, you could say, the republics. It's called, the main city is called Tashkent, and we all came in 1991, 92, 93. Within a 3-year period, we had a huge storm every day.
The early
5-10 airplanes would leave daily, with our families running away from the communism into the United States as Jewish refugees. So we could just, whatever we could grab that was valuable and bring it with us to America. That was basically what we started with.
Wow.
And a lot of us, were able to grab something and, at the customs, end up leaving with almost less than half of it.
Wow. The customs stopped.
The customs, it got to a point that when we get to the customs, we would already like open up these, napkins or whatever, like these little sacks that we had stuff in.
Traveling with y'all last.
And say, here, this is what I got. What do you like in this? What do you like here in the sack? Pick.
Crazy.
At the customs.
Crazy.
And the customs.
With y'all last.
And the customs would pick, and and let you through, or they would confiscate everything and and let you through.
Crazy.
So it was whatever you were able to do. And I watched my uncle in the backyard. He would melt, gold, and make different types of heavy bracelets, like very heavy. They call them
from scratch.
Yeah, they would call them in Jewish daspon. Daspon is like a Jewish bracelet, but it's very heavy. So basically, he would melt different back pieces of certain watches that had gold, or different pieces, and he would just melt them into these big jewelry pieces.
Wow.
So you could, go through the customs. And I was actually the kid that told him, hey, listen, why don't you melt those and make nails? They gave him the nickname Boris the Cross. Why? Because he took some of the gold that he brought from Russia and made crosses. And, and that was the time in the era when crosses were popular. He made crosses.
He was able to pivot.
He sold
and capitalize.
about 100 kilos of gold that he made crosses out of.
That's crazy.
And he just sold a whole bunch of crosses and made a whole bunch of money, and they gave him a nickname, Boris the Cross.
That's crazy.
And also people think like Jacob the jeweler comes from money. They think like he's so fucking rich and everything.
All hustle.
Right.
All
people
hustle.
think that, a lot of jewelers today, where they are in life and where they're at in their career, they feel like, oh wow, they got it like that. Like, no. Jacob the jeweler started as a salesman on 47th Street.
Wow.
Yeah. He started as a salesman. And so is other people. Like, for example,
somebody told me his story.
Elliante also started as a salesman at Uncle Boris's Aviani Pop Shop.
Wow.
Elliante was actually selling nickel and dime weed bags to Joe to smoke weed.
Crazy.
And then one day, Pops just said, "Hey, listen, you know,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? You want to be sales?" Because he was a cute kid. So they dressed him up in jewelry and whatever, and you know, meet Birdman and meet that guy and meet Shaq
as a face,
because you know Joe has a family to take care. He can't travel around, so he was the face, the trusted face, you know, and.
So did you get inspiration from seeing all of that? Like how you said how they came here with nothing, and then you were in the mix to see all of this. Like you know, did it inspire you in any way?
It did, but I'm gonna tell you, there's quiet money in the jewelry business, and there's, you know, the loud money. When I got into the jewelry business, I got involved with the biggest Russian mob boss who dominated and practically owned the entire diamond district. He made me his right-hand man.
Wow.
And we built 12 stores in 1 year.
Wow.
So the plan was to build out these 12 stores all over Brooklyn, all over Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, Knickerbocker, and, you know, just that whole area. And then we would have our store in the Diamond District.
And how did he acquire those 12 stores? Was that through networking?
No,
was that through the internet?
We build them ourselves.
Gotcha.
From scratch.
And what years was that?
This is 2007.
Wow, so that was way before the internet.
10. Yeah. So basically, I'm not going to lie. Like, for example, Eric the jeweler used to give out flyers for my cousin Morris in the fucking Bronx on Fordham Road.
Wow.
And in Harlem too.
Who's now almost a prestigious jeweler.
Yes, he used to give out flyers.
Wow.
And
which is genius. Genius.
So I gave out flyers for my own store as well. That was a way to build clientele.
Hands-on. Guerrilla marketing. That era was all guerrilla marketing.
And Eric made it. Eric the jeweler was giving out flyers. He had no shame in the game. He hustled, and he hustled all the way through up until he made it.
See, that's key for people to know.
A year and a half.
Because I seen him doing his thing, connecting with a few people. He knew some influencer kid I knew, J Babe. I didn't really know who he was, but now that you reiterate on his story, that makes me look at him in another light. Because I'm like, damn, like who was this kid? Who did he just come from? And I know without networking, without resourceful people that you know, how can you meet these A-listers and stuff? So you just shed some light on his story. That's dope.
So what I'm saying is Jacob came from absolutely nothing, and he made his brand. Eric from absolutely nothing. Mr. Flawless, Greg Una, came from nothing. He had no money when he started. He started working for his uncle. And then he lost the Mr. Flawless and became Greg Una.
Which is smart.
Because Mayweather told him, you gotta start your own shit.
On your name, yeah.
And he left. He left the uncle and the family and started his own stuff.
Smart.
You know, he did lose his Instagram in the process, which was whatever, but he's got Nike, a contract, he's got a Puma contract, Tiffany, everything. He's lit. And he started from nothing. He built his brand big. Eric started from nothing and built his brand. Jacob did Elliante, Pristine, Raffaello and Co, Aviani, everybody. So what I'm saying is that you starting from nothing don't have any doubt absolutely that you can't fucking make it just as big and bigger than these people.
Oh no, trust me, I know, and I got a taste of it. Getting a taste of it in the nightlife in Miami early, being able to brush shoulders with the who's is how, at a snap of a finger, I realized like opportunity dances with those on the dance floor. So that's when I got my first taste of stardom. I branded a watch to Lil Wayne and Cash Money in 2012 that is now developed to be the iPod watch, which we had the trademarks to what was called an e-watch at the time that ended up getting an infringement when it was shopped to these high-profile people that I met the owners through selling merchandise from China. You know, and that realized, you know, that was like a multi-million-dollar deal. Me and the person that introduced me to them and brought me to the table, we were supposed to walk away with 5% from that deal. Look how, fast forward 10 years now, look at the millions and billions of dollars that is generating off of iPod. Right. So sometimes, like, just putting yourself out there wasn't just about the clothes I was selling at the time, because the clothes led me to tech gadgets. Right. And the tech gadgets, the people didn't have the resources to meet Lil Wayne, to meet Sean Kingston. At the time, that's who I had shopped these projects. So I started creating a name for myself. Like,
that's another thing. Another very important
same way we met, because I had a name for myself.
Another very important thing is, you know, the networking. The networking is, you know, is very important, because the networking, you know, got me to, for example, meeting Akon, got me to meeting Waka Flocka, got me to meeting, you know, David Branch, and, you know, Messia, and a whole bunch of celebrities and people that I know. So the networking is where it's at. And the reason why Eric and Jacob and all the jewelers and entrepreneurs in the jewelry business made it so high is that they invested money into network, but also they took proper steps into how they invested and what type of moves they made
strategically. Quality people.
Into the networking, you know, plan. They had a plan. So if you build the right plan and have this goal that you have to have your company, Les Vertus, to be where it's at, you will reach that destination.
Oh, 1,000%. It's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle.
So you gotta
piecing together a puzzle.
Strategy of how to invest in your brand, because you could have a whole bunch of money. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing,
burning it.
You peeling tires. That's your favorite line.
100%. That's what people do, though. That's what people do. I mean?
So
we all about closing and results, and that's what separates us. And the closing and results came from the wisdom. Right. The wisdom came from all the failed deals.
Right. I want to personally say, you know, not because you're my friend, or, you know, I admire your company or what you do. I want to personally say that every time I see you, you show me that you've taken a new step. Every time I see you, you show me you've taken a new step. Because every time I see you speak about something new that you've done for your company. So even though as an entrepreneur, without financial backing and having, you know, your daughter in your life, that you're, you know, full-time parent, you do everything that you do for yourself, by yourself, for that child, you're still coming up with new things that you constantly doing and investing in your brand. Just a simple fact that you got, you know, this microphone right here and it's got the emblem of your company, you know, it shows that you're working. And everything that you've been doing, the packaging and stuff and advertising, and just a simple fact that we're sitting here today shows me that you believe in your company 100% and you're willing to go all the way with this.
Well, no, 100%. I mean, basically, when I all of what you just explained is 100% of the breakdown with the term pivot. You know, being able to go from failure to success, whether it's working or not, I never lost sight of like why I started it. So when I started the company, I had a unique vision that I was helping a lot of people. I was doing business with other people, but I didn't really have my own focus.
Right.
So I learned through the process of helping people fail ventures. I was like, you know what? Let me focus on branding, a logo, and products that won't get old, that don't have any time, that don't have no time.
Listen, my brother, I'm gonna tell you like this. I just drove 5 fucking days to California. People told me starting with you, Al, you got a pilgrim here. You got a fucking drive here. You can't just come here, buy plane, and send your truck by plane. You gotta this is not gonna work like that. You gotta put effort. You gotta feel it. You gotta drive through it. I went through fucking black ice. I went through broken windshields. I went through so much challenges just to get here.
Physically.
And the reason why I'm sitting here on this couch with you right now is because no matter how challenging and scary this trip was, because I did it by myself in 4 days. This is a 1.5 week trip with 2-3 people in the car. I drove here and I felt how I entered and drove into the valley, and to see Los Angeles, California, just the way I've been seeing it in movies for the past 30 years. This is something mind-blowing for me.
But you know what you're going to do right now?
And I want to say that I want you to know that I'm here, and I'm here to give you 100% of my support to support your company, your brand, and you in every possible way that I can. And you have your boy, Justin, who's also been a very supportive friend and a brother to you. So I want you to know, even though you're an entrepreneur who's been doing this shit all yourself, investing in it and trying hard, I want you to keep believing in it, and I want you to know that you're not alone.
No, likewise, and
with whatever we could do,
we're reinventing ourselves.
Where you want to be at in this company, you know, we don't need percentages, we don't need shares, we don't need anything from you. Whatever we could do to see you thrive and to see you shine from the heart, we'll do it, bro.
No, I appreciate it, and basically, what made me start this Life Pivot podcast is seeing a lot of people do it, seeing a lot of people stuff take off that's not so authentic. So because we have an authentic purpose and everything we're talking about is going to check back, it's going to reach people, and I'm hoping for it to empower people and the people that feel like giving up. Because that's never an option for me, but I can't say that for 90% of the people I've worked with over the years, is that people give up. So I didn't have me when I was coming up to be like, okay, here's another way, here's another outlet. So for me, with this lifestyle brand, Lvyc Life Club, this is just another budding thing that I'm pivoting to do, because I see it taking off, and I see like what it could do, what it could reach people, not just the monetizing, not just trying to get in front of a camera, but actually uplifting people. I watched this interview the other day with a billionaire versus a millionaire, right? The billionaire said he was peeling tires with hundreds of millions of dollars and couldn't convert to $1 billion. He said when he had 3-4 people around him that he empowered, that's when he became a billionaire. But for decades, he said he just had hundreds of millions. So, like, look at Jay-Z, for example. Hundreds of millions. You're dating the prettiest girl. You guys had no conversion in New York. They were just peeling their tires. They came to LA, and within the last year or two, 2 or 3 multi-$100 million deals that catapulted them. They probably made more in the last 2-3 years than they did their whole career. Right. So even when you have money, you can't stop. So even me, I've had certain accolades, but it doesn't match my initial goal. I just never lost sight of the goal. So when you met me, even if you didn't understand what it was that I was doing, I had a big goal. I remember paying the money to incorporate the company at the time, and my accountant was like, "Why are you paying for this? You're paying for air. What exactly is that you're paying for?" And now if he's seen it 8 years later, 9 years later, he's like, he can't even fathom the thought of what. Just like Alex, for example, the other day, you know, he was like, he didn't understand that it would last this long, like, or be indestructible. And I'm like, Alex, it's the same blueprint from the day I met you to now. I just never stopped.
But you don't understand. Not everybody's
Can
gonna
see it.
have, you know, vision for you.
100%.
Nobody's gonna have a genuine vision for you to sit there and actually say, "Oh, I hope you make it. I hope you're gonna be, you know, the Les Vertus fucking billionaire." So you don't need people like that who don't have vision for you, because you got your vision and you have maybe not many, but the few that you have.
Oh, 1,000%. Quality over quantity, and connecting it with like-minded people. So that actually, it's funny that you say that, because that's actually the slogan of the brand. It's a brand of inspired individuality. You have your own inspired individuality.
Yeah.
Justin has his own inspired individuality. Zach has his own inspired individuality. All as men.
Right.
So it comes back full circle. That was just a concept that I dreamt that built me, or something that I was standing on with my character,
Right.
to get me where I'm at. So now I'm just using these online portals as a tool to get to the next battle.
Let me ask you a question. You know, you got a lot of rappers and artists and people, and I've noticed the funniest thing is that these people always mention God in their music. These people are God believers. You got Khaled yelling, "God did, God did."
Go when the results,
God did.
yeah. Go when the results
He's got
start hitting.
everybody fucking yelling.
Yeah.
In the world now, God did.
Yeah. When the results start hitting, they realize the depth of their faith.
Right. But you know what
sometimes
it
they
is?
didn't have before, but then when the results and the zeros start coming in the bank account, then you realize,
Right.
okay, who's doing this? Is it my brain? Is it the higher power?
So
Is it my family?
So
Work ethic?
no, honestly, you know something? When people see miracles happen to them, some people show gratitude, and gratitude is the most expensive currency. You could give somebody anything, but nothing's more valuable than gratitude currency. Gratitude currency is the most expensive currency.
Facts. And that
expensive
comes from
currency.
high level of
Right.
character. Most people in my 41 years of living, I realize, lack character.
Right. So what I want to say
No matter
is
how
that-
much money you got or what you know.
Right. You gotta believe in the miracles. You gotta pray for the miracles, and miracles will occur. But then when you receive these miracles, you have to acknowledge that what happened was a miracle, that
100%.
you made it. So these people were praying for a miracle. They kept trying hard. They accomplished it. And then they became, you know, a real God believers. You don't hear Khaled yelling 5 years ago, God did. He's
100%.
yelling now because
100%.
it actually happened for him.
100%.
And he realizes that God did that
He
for
couldn't
him.
have done it without faith.
Right. So, but the whole long way, you know, you didn't hear Khaled yelling, God did.
No, facts. Because at that point, there's probably low points where he felt like giving up, and he was like, what God if the shit's not working?
Right.
But I wake up to that every day.
Of course. But I want to say that I've had miracles in my lifetime where, you know, I realized that God did that for me. You know, I didn't yell like Khaled did, God did, but I acknowledged that this is a fucking miracle, and God made that happen for me.
Facts.
The fact that I made it here to California, Los Angeles, alive.
If I'm doing this with nothing, like I remember 26, 27 with a penthouse with a private elevator. So when I did that with nothing, I was like, okay, what's the next chapter? Because if this is like a halfway point or whatever, what more does God have in store for me if I just did this off hard work? I didn't rob, cheat, lie, didn't steal. Just hard work got me that.
Right.
So I said, oh shit, well, if I want to own this now, my next chapter of ownership is working harder and not stopping.
But how do you feel? You got these jars over there with, you know, that's your company brand product. You got several things that already, you know, you have several products in your brand.
Basically, with the mass branding, why I decided to create a lifestyle brand, because I learned, like, in business, unless you have one phenomenal product, which is very hard, it takes a series of products. And like how you said, you seen me change and having to, like, pivot over and over, because I learned in business you can't have any attachment to a deal. I learned that very early, because a lot of people suffer from depression. A lot of the depression comes from...
My boss used to tell me, don't marry to the jewelry.
Don't ever marry to
whatever
anything.
You're wearing, you're a walking showcase.
Yes.
Sell it right off your head.
So that's been a quick thing how I was able to pivot.
Right.
So when one thing didn't work, I started off selling clothes, cars. Anybody that knows me, I always have my hands into getting money. So if I meet people and they're not about getting money, then I probably came off as weird or standoffish, but I'm not interested. Like, my bloodline comes from bartering. My culture, I'm Jamaican. Jamaica was the biggest place for free trade in the 1800s.
Yeah.
The pirates, everybody would dock from all over the world. So me at 41 now, bartering and trading is things that we all possess as men, these same characteristics and stuff that keep us in the same room. Right. And if people can't resonate to that, then you're probably not going to be in the same room of movers and shakers and people that have that naturally in them. So that's what I feel like. I feel like nobody's better than each other, but everybody has different approach to the things that they're trying to acquire. So me having stuff like that in my bloodline, I've always been into this stuff since a little kid, since coming to America and having to write down what I was wearing because people were trying to ridicule me. I knew at an early age I was gonna have to, being so poor, I was gonna have to grind my life off to surpass
and you have
the ridicule.
So
and
what's
pain.
The next step? What's the goal?
The next step now is
what's the move?
Tapping into the internet. I feel like we grew up in a guerrilla marketing era, doing everything hands on. So I've been opening my brain and talking and manifesting on internet driven media results, because if like right now it's our future. Right now we're working for our kids. We all got kids, so it's not about 10 years ago what we're working for now. Building something that will create some long-term residual for our kids. So my daughter the other day said she wanted a laptop. I said, well, if you want to learn how to edit on a laptop and run daddy's business, that's what's going to happen. So 10 years down the road, who knows what this might evolve into.
Right. You want to, teach her the stepping stones, how to do this now.
Exactly. So,
and reward her with, with technology to work and help daddy build his business.
Yes. So all the products, that's what it's about. So like a couple years ago when you met me.
That's interesting. I like that.
Clothes was just the focus, right? Because that's what everybody was into. After the pandemic, I saw, oh shit, something could happen in a world where people can't even leave their house to wear the clothes.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I can't put my focus into that. By coincidence, my niche industry I was focusing on, luxury leisure, was up 30%. Because rich people were depressed spending. While the whole world said, oh, retail is done.
Right. They closed out a lot of
rich
stores.
Rich people were
Macy's
spending.
Closed.
Yes, those stores might never open. So me pivoting quickly, I said, oh shit, I don't really want to hear about clothes. I'm branding a brand that I could take on a designer that can make his own collection under my brand, but that's not my focus. Now I have the rights, I own my trademarks, I could put my brand and endorse anything that I feel fits a trending lifestyle based off of my taste. So with that direction, I'm only trying to connect and network with people that coincide with what I'm doing. So once I saw the internet and the social media taking off, I'm like, okay, well, I have the know-how, I have the resources. Let me broaden my fan base with true people and uplift them, because the uplifting, the information, us empowering them it might lead to a sale. Somebody might say, you know what? I'm inspired. I like how this brand makes me feel. I'll buy it. I could stand on my head and sell it if I want to. Hey, this guy looks retarded, but the video of what I'm seeing is inspiring them to want to buy. I post a picture, a random stranger buys it because of a mood and an aesthetic on what they're feeling.
This Virtus Yacht Club, right?
Yes.
Do you make slippers?
Everything. I just closed out on trying to do too much, so now we're just tuning in on, more quality and less bulk. So doing more limited pieces and targeting more on a niche of people. Because like right now, like I said, after the pandemic, it showed the world that like all that designer stuff or clothes, what's the value of it? You can't even wear it. So I'm more focused now on the essential items. That's why I have
Same thing with jewelry. But people still bought jewelry in pandemic.
Because it makes them feel good. There's a lot of depression. But it makes them feel good. That's what they're spending it for. And
I think pandemic was the beginning of it was a whole bunch of scarcity, but then towards the middle of it, I think sales of anything just exploded.
Yes.
The shelves in stores were empty.
Yes.
I think everybody just,
It shocked the world, but for business people like myself,
the biggest sales in jewelry history was the pandemic sales. Now
it's history.
Now it's the opposite. People are now selling all this shit.
Yes, because they were caught up in the hype for the moment. But that's why
people are selling everything. The watches dropped 3-4 times.
No, 100%. That's why I like to build stuff out that has no timeline, no ending. It just means it could go on. It'll never get old. People would see it before. They're like, oh, that's basic. It doesn't have no design. I was taught if you had to ask for the price of something,
let me ask you a question.
You can't afford it.
I got my jewelry grand opening coming up in Miami. You know that.
Yeah.
In downtown, right next to Highmove building, Highmove Jewelers. I think you should consider, and this is just random, maybe we should make jewelry for men and women that would have Les Virtus Yacht Club, and we could have this jewelry presentation at the grand opening. It could be bracelets. It could be.
It's funny chains, you say that. It could be. It's funny you say that.
Whatever it is, and I'm telling you, I think just looking at that jaw right there with that Tiffany color.
No, it's funny that you say that.
I'm thinking of what do you call it?
I had a female designer that told me
the charm bracelet that's
with our unique color wave.
I forgot what is that? You can make charm bracelets with that type of stone color wave.